Yeah, so this is the game versus Skob. I am on I'm on white Tama, mono white Tama, and he's on like soft, I guess. So you
How
can
generic? How generic are
not
we
that
talking?
generic, because remember, so for our tournament we're playing like post color rules, right?
Yeah.
But no Dissonance cards yet. So he's on like he's experimenting with a piece that you'll probably I want to see if you can actually guess what piece he's on when we reveal LRIGs here in a
Oh,
sec.
I'm excited. This is fun. See, like I don't know what anyone other than like you and Pigeon have played from your locals. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's mostly we have one of the other top 16 Sashe players is also from our locals, and he's been playing Sashe a lot leading up to GP. I don't think I've played against him since GP. No, I did, and he was on. We just played for fun, and he was on Alpha, I think. So I think he's just messing around with other decks right now. We have a lot of Remember players, but we have a lot of new players who are like bringing their own cooks, which is really nice. Like we have someone that's building like a mono blue freeze list.
Oh
It's
man,
cool.
I haven't seen a mono. I haven't seen a freeze list. I feel like in forever.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Lots of synergy. Yeah, so it's Machina, Sash, and so do you know
Okay.
which of the tricolor pieces that
Um.
supports?
It's well. I'm assuming. Wait. No. Hold on. Wait. White. Wait. White, blue, green.
White, blue,
Wait. There is
black.
no tricolor.
Oh, sorry,
Right?
black, blue, green. That's
Oh,
Machina.
black.
Or black, white, green. I'm I'm losing my line. Yeah, the Machina is black because it looks weird because it's on
Yeah, the
on the
blue
blue. Yeah.
gets me. I'll be honest. I can't remember the piece. I feel like wait, is it the one that why can't I think of the name of it? Let me see here. Let me see.
Are you cheating on my question? Are you looking it up?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay. Okay.
absolutely not. I would never. Is it the
Oh, watch
It's
this.
not.
Sorry,
It's not Colorful Wish, is it?
it is colorful. Also,
No.
he just opened 2 into a bounce burst on turn 1. It's the
Oh shit.
worst feeling. That's how you already know you've lost when that happens, right? Like, um, my hand is kind of whack, but I get to do this, which I think is funny.
Jesus.
Yep.
The way you slap those down, just
I I only run 2 picture frame too, so this is like not a board I get to do very often.
Oh my gosh. So, how do you feel about picture frame before your level 3? Like, do you feel like it's pretty good with it? I mean, I know obviously it's like what, 11 or is it 14k?
It's 12k.
12k?
Yeah.
12k. So it's like good when it restands, but I'm always afraid I'm gonna swing into a like return up Signy.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say. I feel like if you're going first and you play it on 2, I think it's very
Mhm.
strong because your opponent's going to be on 2, and the amount of ways to deal with a 12k when you're on level 2 is very, very low.
Gotcha.
I think if I was going second here, I mean, my hand, I think I cleared here, and I think the reason was my hand was like double picture frame, double over pursuit, and it's like, unplayable. So I'd still play it, but
Yeah.
I do agree that like the restand is kind of annoying, especially with like the prevalence of mono white who are gonna, or like just white decks that are running all these bounce bursts.
Alright, so let's see. Let's see. I'm intrigued to see this Anne. Anne is a one stop on level 2, and then is it just it's check top? I'm assuming it's the check top 5, enter 2, put the rest on bottom.
So that is an and that exists, but I don't think he's running it.
Okay.
His list is more aggressive, so he just dances my picture from back to
Gotcha.
hand. I think Skob in general usually values Sashe as like a like there's like 2 types of Sashe lists, right? There's like the kind that's pretty hyper defensive and plays mostly
Okay.
like an Esper deck, like the one that you played at GP. Not necessarily like a slow deck, but it's okay. It wants to go as long as possible because it knows it'll win in the long run.
Oh, for sure, for
Right.
sure.
Whereas I think Skob prefers like the go to the top style lists where you use Sasha's tools as a safety net for gambling. So like you play into burst, but if you get like bad burst or hit with blown out by an assist, you're okay because you have once per game or full moon up or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the game's pretty even so far. We're both. I have used an assist already, but it's blocked in LRIG damage and it's clear, so it did discard 1 servant from its hand.
That's always what you want to see when you're playing Tama and running clear.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you just hit one guard, that's all you need. I feel
Yeah.
like. But really, I honestly, I like clear more for just the fact that it like fixes your own hand. I think. I feel
Oh,
like.
yeah.
I think honestly, I don't play Tama enough anymore, but I always forget that she kind of fixes her hand when she enters. But like for turn 2, like having a secure turn 2 and turn 3 is really really nice if you're running as many spells and sort of dead cards as this deck does. Because like Amoeba's like a dead card in this matchup. Neither of us are discarding cards, so it's pretty irrelevant. And you can see there's 2 sitting in my enter, which sucks because that means I don't even get to restand this turn.
Oh, yeah, reset. Yeah. Oof.
It's okay. Those are the only 2 Amoebas in my deck. My deck has 6 non-white cards, and I both am playing one this turn because I have a Typhon on the field, as well as the 2 Amoebas that are in my enter. So this turn is kind of weird, and I also play the turn as if he has Smash, which I should be like. I should very much know that he's not gonna have Smash. That's not how Sashe works, right? Like that's on me. I can probably play this turn a little bit better. So I'm on Ensemble, right? And one thing that I really like about Ensemble, I don't know if the camera showed it here, but I'm pretty sure I put a guard back with Tama's enter because I know I don't really need it, which is really nice because I get to play more like efficient cards.
That's like the one thing that I really liked in testing with Umar Clear and Ensemble is like if you go Umar Clear and you discard a guard, it doesn't feel like it's like wasted.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you're at some point it's like you potentially can get it back, but it's like they're gonna be frozen for a long time anyway. So it's like that's all good. All right, so here we go. We're going into the level 3 Sashe territory where we can start bouncing things.
Yep. It's a little spooky, but I've done a good job of denying him on enter so far.
Oh yeah. Especially, I feel like once you hit level 3 with Sashe, it's either you have like a ton of enter and you're able to just like go all in and start really bouncing things, or you're just like saving as much as you can, especially depending on what kind of assist you're running. But I mean, with running the on, which I'm assuming if you're running the on one stop, you probably that only costs I think 1 or
it costs 0. Yeah, it's very he already played it, so he's unlimited already. Yeah, he played it last turn.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, this one stuff is really good in my opinion. It's 0 cost. You stop one and you also enter charge one. So it like I think a lot of people think about green assist and they mainly think about Mel, right, as a multi-stop, which is good. She's a very good multi-stop, but I think Anne is like a contender as like a very strong one-stop as well. Like I know most of the time you're like picking between multi-stops and one-stops, and I think for most people they just kind of assume that green didn't really have a strong one-stop.
It kind of gives you some of the like what I think about Bang, where you get to intercharge a lot and then you still get to stop a lane, which is important.
Yeah. It definitely has the same vibe. And the removal mode on Dance, the bounce 7k is pretty relevant because it means you're also denying an enter from your opponent. Like for Sashe, right? It's so relevant.
Especially in a world of white walls. I think those are more prevalent than you would think they would be.
Yeah. Oh, here's the colorful wish.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'll let this play out because I think there's a very interesting decision that he has to make here because he's actually on he has Midoriko in the trash, so he's trying to decide here between whether he wants to grab Midoriko or Kome. Midoriko, every time you play a piece and you don't play a Midoriko on the field, that's like 1 Midoriko activation that you're not gonna be able to use that game, which is 50% of them.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So he wants to push damage, but I'm on Tama. He doesn't want to give me an opportunity to get away with an OPG now that he has no assists left. Not that any of the assists would stop me anyway. But.
Yeah, Midoriko, it's like whenever I first saw that card, I wasn't really too sure about how I felt about it. But then like in practice, especially against playing like our friend Alice, it's kind of crazy what you can do with Midoriko.
Yeah. It's nuts, and like 2 Midorikos is like you basically turn skip your opponent, right? It's very similar to double Exia. He does end up deciding on the Kome. I don't think at this point that he's realized that I'm on colorful ensemble yet, because a lot of people will see the white blue and just like auto think about ultra superheroes, right? Because like that if you saw white and blue together, That's what it was.
You're hitting with the double whammy too, because you're also running a red assist. So
Yeah.
with you guys going, oh, open color rules, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's definitely red. I see white, blue. I see now red. It's Ush. It's Ush. Why wouldn't it be Ush?
I don't think it would have mattered too much, but he's gonna play the Kome here, right? Because you got it, and you probably want to play it. You're in this interesting spot where like Kome can restand your LRIG, which means that if he recognized that I was on Colorful Wish, he could swing with the LRIG and then restand it so I couldn't freeze it effectively next turn.
Oh yeah, I had to learn that trick many times going against Pigeon with Tama and Madoka.
Oh yeah. I think Tama is definitely like if you play enough Tama, you learn it, right? Like,
oh yeah.
You do. This is one of those scary voids. Picture frame Kome is so scary.
Yeah, it is interesting though, because like, well, I guess it's one of those moments too where I wonder if Rango potentially could have been a better choice. Like, not to say like in this build overall, because with Kome you essentially, if swinging into a bounce burst, you're still going to be able to do it.
Right. Yeah.
But with like Rango, I feel like Rango's kind of a safer play on some extent with like Sash, and it's also cheaper.
Yeah, it's way cheaper. It's like a significant difference between 2 and 1.
Yeah,
right?
I think too. Like it depends on also like how much inner you're realistically getting.
Yeah.
Swinging over the picture frame here.
I think the idea is like you're on Anne, so you have a green assist, and it also enter charges you, so you theoretically will have the enter for the double attack with Kome every time. Like the difference between it and Rango is pretty irrelevant.
Yeah, that's fair.
So he does do the double swing. He doesn't recognize that. Well, maybe he recognizes it and just decide that it's not worth it. But
and this is where you're getting excited, and you're like, oh yeah,
I have a really good play here. So I'm counting my enter. I believe he OPG'd last turn, so the amount of things I can attack with are pretty limited anyway. I don't need, because it's Tama, I don't need that much to attack with.
Yeah,
it's so nice.
You'll just swing with Tama, so you're all
fine. Exactly. It has been maybe 6 months since I had last played Tama, like in a tournament.
Oh man.
And so it was very nice to enter versus a lot of these like more anti-Signy attack decks, like Sashe, right? And have this like not having to worry about it. Like all these Exias, who even cares? What even is an Exia?
Well, I did want to ask too, with this build, were you running, I know you're not running a green assist, but were you running anything that would allow like a multi-tech? Like if you're running like Kome, Picture Frame, and Tama, you can get in.
Oh yeah. Colorful Ensemble is 2 holes and an LRIG freeze. So you don't need to worry about not pushing damage every turn. If that makes sense. Yeah. Right? Like, because like it would really only be Rango and Picture Frame, right? Like.
Oh yeah, I think that's fair, and I think too, like what you did there that turn, by playing Yuki, targeting something, and then being able to like drop Remember and kind of not worry about that, or even if you were to go in a colorful ensemble there, you could always just bounce and open a hole that wasn't targeted with Exia, and then just give the other one Assassin, which is pretty big.
I decided, well, remember it was the OPG turn, so I didn't really have the enter to.
That's true.
Use Colorful Ensemble, which is why I decided against using it. But the play that I put him in is really good for me because it meant that I completely ignored his OPG, and I gave him 0 enter because he was compelled to guard, which then forced him to pay. So it's like, he's not in a great scenario. He has no enter anymore. He does Phalaris here because I have 3 cards in my deck, but
there it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
This card has been ridiculous.
Honestly, anything that allows you to refresh for free, but like shuffle everything back right now is so good.
It's so good, and it only gets better from here because, like, Innocent Battle specifically is going to be strong in Chaos meta. But even next set, you have Nanashi hidden him, which is basically mill 14 at some point in the game, mill 20 even, out of nowhere. And so having cards that can like respond to that is really nice. Although the mill 20 is beginning of attack phase, so Nanashi is something. There I just milled 3 Zalyuns in a row, which I thought was funny. And I actually unfortunate here because I saw a Servant with the Remember, and I didn't hit a Servant on the mill. So that means I'm not going to be able to get one, which is kind of sad, but it's okay because I'm still in like a position where I'm like not in danger of dying anytime soon. I still have Sin up. I definitely don't die this turn. He's not even going to get me to 0 cloth. And I definitely don't die next turn either. Yeah, because I freeze his LRIG. So the most damage he can do next turn is 1 through Sin. So it's like I'm in a really good spot. I do have 3 cloth to get through still, but this is where the colorful ensemble comes in clutch. Because
Oh yeah.
yeah, this turn I believe I grabbed the Yuki, right? With this Yuki ends up getting like cycled over and over again. But I grabbed the Yuki so that I can blank the picture frame again, or I guess in this case the Exia. But this way he has to pick a lane, and then I can respond to that with the colorful ensemble, as we'll see.
Oh yeah, which I think like colorful ensemble and carnival sin, like those, it's bouncing around Exia in that way.
Oh yeah,
or must feel so good.
it feels so good. I think the big thing is that like after the colorful ensemble turn, the opponent's put in a position where they like have to force the sin off of me, because I can just open 3 out of my LRIG deck basically every turn. I'll open 2 really, but that's still pretty nice to be able to do, all without targeting, right? Like obviously colorful ensemble bounces, so I do have to target. So freeze the LRIG, give assassin here, bounce the picture frame. So basically completely ignore the X, yeah. Here, I'm going to do a funny play, which is play Mew, and I'm just going to get the Yuki to my hand. And that's entirely just so that next turn, I can do it again, where this is going to be the 3rd turn in a row where I would blank something just to trigger Exia early. This is why, like, Yuki is so strong, right? Like, against Exia, it's like, most decks aren't opening 3 anyway, at least this deck isn't, so a single Exia doesn't matter as long as I can trigger it at some point.
Oh yeah, and I think too, like, when it comes to Yuki and dealing with Exia, it's like, at least in mono white, I feel like there's so much you can do with like over pursue and things like that, where you're just able to just kind of poke it, trigger it, do whatever, and then immediately you can move it, you can kind of move it around. It's like, I mean, you don't even need Bang Dissona. Like, ban it.
Yeah.
Put it in Maya's room.
Put it in Maya's room. Yuki is just so universally strong, which is why like I often say that it's like the 3rd best card in the game, because it beats both 1 and 2 so regularly, which it is Exia, remember. I think, like, I don't think that's a hot take. Maybe Remember is a hot take to say that she's that good, but I know a lot of people are scared of Phalaris. I don't think Phalaris ain't shit. I'm not even on Phalaris in this deck, actually. I think I should have been, but
I mean, you're on Innocent Battle. Who cares? Who needs mill?
Yeah, it's true.
You're double attacking every turn, so
exactly. I think. Well, the main thing is that a lot of clear's value, I feel like in the normal Tama clear decks, is you mill your opponent. Let's say that your opponent has 5 in hand, you clear them, they draw 4, so then your Phalaris is like the extra mill 10 that you might need. Because like if you consider that you're milling 4 cards from their hand, basically, right? That's kind of like the way I think most people look at it. In that regard, like I do kind of wish I had Phalaris as an option, but 14 is kind of a weird number, you know? Like,
yeah.
If it was 18, like if I had a Earth or something, I think it would be a little bit more believable, but I don't actually know if having Phalaris would have come up. It obviously wouldn't have come up here because he's already at 0 cloth, but...
Oh yeah, I think for sure, like, anytime you see a clear and you're going for some type of mill, I definitely think, like, having Urith as the other assist is definitely helpful in that.
Yeah, the only problem is, and thank God for this, there's no black, white, blue tri-assist, like P08 assist.
Oh, yeah.
Or not assist, peace, my bad. So, most Esper decks these days are just running red as the assist so that they can get full push value, yeah. But then you have to run red. And I don't know if you know this, but I think Lancelot's really bad. So, what? I don't like running red cards.
I didn't know you had this opinion.
Oh, yeah, I'm very quiet about it. So. Yeah, so he's in this tough position. He ended the Phalaris, which I don't know if it's correct. If he had a way to open 2 lanes without giving me enter, and he had a Brutus in hand, he could have actually potentially threatened lethal. Because I have exactly 14 cards in my deck right now. Actually, I guess, because Sin just blocks the Brutus. Man, Sin is so good. This card is like, it does so much work. I am a big fan of that assist. And
so it looks like here too he's trying to decide if he wants to bring out his Rewsula here, which I'm assuming he's on full moon.
No spoilers, but I may not have ever found out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had 4 servants in trash at this point. So his play this turn, fair. I think he decides that his best option is to hyper charge Orochimaru and to get as many servants into hand as possible, which makes sense.
Gotcha.
So there's a Lancelot, broken card, overpowered.
So good, so good.
Oh yeah, I also did miss a trigger, and I did not down my Signy, but that won't come up. So here's the countdown heals. He countdowns heals for Demon. He does not have a level 2 to grab.
Ooh, okay.
So
So we're really going for the Orochi here.
yeah, like he's decided that this is the play he needs to make, which I don't know if I agree with. I mean, I guess he's kind of screwed because he needs to be able to block double LRIG damage. Like that's what Tama does. If he forces me to full sin here to pay 4, I might not be able to get enough enter next turn to be able to kill him, but that would require him to just choose to not hit my last claw.
Yeah.
And that's all. That would only be to dodge the double attack. And if I like have a remember, then he just loses anyway. Because he can't, obviously he doesn't have the enter to guard. So he decides to bounce the Orochi, which does force me to sin, but I only sin the picture frame because I don't need to do any more. I'm fine taking this damage. It's just a Zalian, he can't LRIG attack. I'm in a good spot because he bounced the Orochi to my hand, and I have that Yuki that I got with the Mew. So I just blank the picture frame.
There we go.
And yeah, we have a discussion while he's picking his Exia, and I just tell him I have the Orochi. So in the moment here, he will just concede. Things went pretty well for me this game, I think, drawing wise, but also like this deck is so good against Sashe. I think like.
Oh yeah, I think too like double LRIG freeze, like it really just allows you to not even like worry about guards or anything.
Yeah, like definitely, and also just like it makes clearing so much better, right? Like, like you said, being able to just discard a guard and not have to worry about it is so nice. And I've said this before, but I think a lot of people will see a guard take a guard a lot with like cards like Haniel or Remember once per turn or Ultra Superheroes. And I think a lot of the time that's a result of people being in a very defensive mindset of where like, if I don't win this turn, I need to be able to survive the next turn and the next turn.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's just like the wrong mindset. Is like the problem with guards is they don't do anything. So if your hand needs tempo, you have to choose not the guards, which is why I really like Colorful Ensemble, because it is a massive tempo swing, right? Like
Oh, for sure.
You're blocking your opponent's damage, you are opening 2 lanes, and you're doing it straight out of your LRIG deck. So it's not costing you anything, really. It just costs an opportunity cost of running a different card. But the turn where you play Colorful Ensemble is like such a swing in your favor.
Oh, for sure. And that's like, I was going to say too, like, it's interesting because like with what you were working, or you said like you're kind of slowing the game down a little bit. It's like, typically I feel like with Sash, like whenever I played Sash at like GP and stuff, it's like, whenever I would get into that late game, I could kind of start controlling the tempo a little bit more. And then immediately you drop Colorful Ensemble, and you're like, actually, I'm going to take control of this a little bit more. And
yeah.
we're going to do it this way.
A good way to think about it is like, you think about assists trading for each other. Like, if I smash your thing, then I'll play a Signy, and you're going to smash that Signy that's in the open lane now, right?
Oh, for sure.
What Colorful Ensemble lets you do is you're trading a piece for an assist in a lot of scenarios, which is like very good, because even if they play an assist that blocks everything that your piece did, you're still froze their LRIG. So you still got something out of it, and you got a defensive tool out of it for 2 enter and a card that you always have in your hand. So it's like, it is always such a massive tempo swing. Or they just don't use it. They don't use an assist, and you put them in a scenario where they're just going to die to Tama attacks, and their assist won't matter anymore. I was kind of sleeping on it, I think, going into the no color rules. I was definitely like in the Colorful Wish being better, because, you know, it's so similar to like Energy Door, right? Like the card is basically all 4 modes of Energy Door on one card for a colorless enter instead of green. Like, that's really good.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, it's also 1 enter, so it's closer to like Ultra Superheroes than like DBD is, which I think most people have sort of decided that DBD is the de facto best piece besides Ultra Superheroes from that cycle. But I definitely had Ensemble at like bottom 2, by way below the other 3. So
yeah, you had Aggressive Knight as the best.
Oh yeah, oh my god, it's so good.
No, yeah, I think it is crazy because like it does really feel like kind of looking over both cards, it feels like Colorful Wish is kind of a more defensive, like I don't know. I feel like with Colorful Ensemble, you're getting like that a little bit of aggro. I mean, there is some defense in that, but it is mostly kind of like a push.
Yeah.
Whereas Colorful Wish, like you're grabbing a guard, you are bouncing something, and you're grabbing some more Signy from hand.
Yep.
Or from trash to hand. Yeah. So like it does feel a little bit more defensive, but I think they're both pretty good.
I think they're both pretty good too. I think a good way to think about Colorful Ensemble is that, like I said, because servants are dead cards, the freeze basically turns what would have been a dead card in your hand by choosing a servant into an offensive card. So even though the freeze seems like a defensive ability, a defensive effect on paper, I think it's actually more of an offensive one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.